What's up, Home Slices? It's here with Home Slice Adulting, coming to you with, y'all, I haven't reviewed nothing on this channel in ages, but this Queens of R&B SWV stuff is very exciting. There's a lot of buzz going around on the internet. A lot of people putting together their little bulletin boards with the push pins and the and the threads, and figuring out, okay, we have this interview over here where Tamika was talking about Kandi sleeping her way to the top. We got this interview over here where Rocky and Latasha over here talking about how Kandi did X, Y, and Z, and then we got, you know, information from their last reality show together, Still Kicking It. So people are putting together pieces and bits of the story. And I guess I just want to throw in my opinion. So right now there are only 2 episodes out, and unfortunately there are only 6 episodes total. So I feel okay about doing this because it's not like a big commitment. I am working on something else when it comes to like establishing a content platform, so I don't know where I'm gonna go with this channel, really, in all honesty. But I wanted to do just a little mini review, you know, to talk about my thoughts on what's going on. So first off, the first episode, just the introduction, kind of where we all left off, and we see that Xscape and SWV are like 2 very opposite sides of the same coin. They have a very similar like timeline of when each of them came out. They have similar issues with some people in the group trying to go solo, and the groups breaking up, you know, around similar times. And they did a versus together recently, and there was just so much magic and nostalgia in the room that people were like, oh, we need a whole tour of SWV and Xscape, and you know. So from that buzz that was generated from the verses, like Mona Scott Young got in touch with them and was like, yo, let's do a series about y'all trying to get this tour together, right? So we hear the same things that we heard about them before. Both groups have had their own reality shows before, so we know quite a bit about them. I feel like SWV, even though they are from like the same era, they are a little bit older. They're a whole lot wiser. They don't have the issue of having a family dynamic within the group, whereas Xscape has 2 sisters. And even though Coco tried to go solo, Coco realized something that Latasha does not realize. So Latasha, people say Latasha has the best voice in Xscape. And I feel like Latasha has a great voice, but because of the way she sings with a bunch of runs and everything, it's a little extra for me. So I actually prefer probably Tamika's voice out of everybody. And I also think Tiny has a very beautiful voice as well. She just didn't get to sing as much as the other girls. But anyways, so Tasha, because she was the big girl with the big voice, believed that she was the big star of the group. And I never believed that. Like, I was very young when Xscape was popping, like maybe 6 years old, when I remember them being like popular. And I always viewed Kandi as the lead singer. That's just me. Like, each girl got an opportunity to shine, but Kandi came across to me as the lead singer for whatever reason. But anyways, when Coco decided to go solo, because she was like, her voice is like one of the most 90s things that I know of. Her voice as the lead singer, like the definite lead singer in SWV, was like the voice that people loved. And unfortunately, people really only wanted to see Coco inside of SWV, which is very interesting. Like, they love her in SWV, but she didn't find a whole bunch of success on her own. And the difference between Latasha and Coco is that Coco came to realize that and accept that, and she realized we're better together. So yeah, I can go off and do my solo thing, but if people ain't trying to hear it, I accept that we're better together, and that if we're going to get a coin, it has to be all three of us. So let's put the BS aside and the disagreements aside, and let's get this money. And that is a very mature thing to do, to accept that your dream of what you wanted to do is not going to become a reality is a super mature thing to do. And I wish Tasha would take a page out of Coco's book, because we're not seeing it for you, Tasha. It's not that you can't sing. You got too many runs for me, just personally. I'm not interested. But based on what we've seen of you on television, nobody wants to hear you talk about the Lord when you obviously don't have like a good Christian spirit. You allow your mother to put you on a pedestal at your sister's detriment. You allow your mother to make you feel good about yourself while blaming your sister for everything. Instead of checking your mom, you receive all of this additional and extra love that you don't deserve, because y'all are sisters and y'all should be equal in your mother's sight. So not only are you accepting this favoritism, you are relishing in it. And that's the big problem that I have with Latasha. She obviously had self-esteem issues, and as a big woman myself, I completely understand that. And going through years of therapy and understanding like why food was comforting, or why food felt like it was something I had control over, I have come to grips with it and have made leaps and bounds in developing my self-esteem. Unfortunately for Latasha, she required her feelings about her self-esteem to be boosted by outside influences, including her own mother, who would tell Latasha that her sister is jealous of her on freaking national television. Excuse me. Like, are you kidding me? And that other part, and the more dangerous and unhealthy and almost terrifying part of her validation comes from her husband, who obviously preyed upon her insecurities and has been milking her for everything she can do for her talent for 27 years. Is that obvious to anybody else? Like, is it obvious that this, look, there's a saying that says, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. Now, this dude used to hang around R. Kelly. And look, if R. Kelly can't do nothing else, he knows how to pick a victim. And I feel like Rocky saw that Latasha was insecure. He made a move, a bold move, and basically stole her from her ex-boyfriend, and it made her feel worthy that somebody would fight for her. And if you can make somebody with low self-esteem feel good about themselves, they will give you anything they want. They will give you anything you want, because they don't want the feeling of being validated to be taken away. And that's another lesson that I had to learn. So when you have your own self-worth and you have your own self-belief, other people can't come in and sway you one way or the other, because you know that you're worthy with or without them. And I don't think that Latasha feels that way about herself. And after 27 years, she has been sufficiently brainwashed by Rocky to believe a number of things that are not true, such as people like Kandi Burruss are jealous of her and how many songs that she sang lead, or how many songs she wrote, or whatever. And it's like, what are you talking about? Kandi has her own web series called Speak On It, so she's been reviewing each episode, and the latest Speak On It, she went through their catalog on their 3 CDs that Escape released, and went through and said for the first 2 albums, Kandi sang lead on like 85% of the songs. So it doesn't make sense that Kandi would be jealous that Latasha sang lead. What Kandi is upset about is that Latasha historically multiple times has decided to springboard her own solo career off the backs of Xscape. So anytime Xscape comes back together, she leverages that into doing her own thing the same way that she did when it came to their 3rd album. So according to Kandi, the lawyers literally, the ladies were getting together to try to get more money for their 3rd album. Latasha was so dead set on going solo. Latasha was so dead set on going solo that she basically said, if y'all want the group to stay together, I need to get, like, if y'all want this 3rd album, y'all need to give me my own solo project. And the record label justified paying the ladies less money because Latasha saying she wanted to go solo, to them felt like she wasn't committed to the group and that the group might break up soon, which it eventually did. So Kandi was upset because Latasha messed up their money. And I don't think Kandi was mad that she had her own career ambitions, because Kandi, eventually went on to go solo herself. Kandi was upset that by demanding a solo album, they got lowballed on their the money that they made off of the 3rd album. And so one of the things that I think Rocky is mad about is that he hitched his wagon to the wrong horse. He hitched his wagon to the horse that had the lowest self-esteem and the best voice, but he should have hitched his wagon to Kandi. And that's what he's mad about, okay? Because, look, Kandi out here is very successful. We all know that. And even though I don't necessarily care for Kandi's voice all that much, there is no denying that the girl has a decent singing voice, an excellent songwriting career. To my knowledge, the latest hit that she wrote was for Ariana Grande, and it's a song that I really like. Break up with your girlfriend, 'cause I'm bored. Like, I enjoy that song. So not only has she written songs back in the 90s for Destiny's Child and whatnot, she's writing currently for people like Ariana Grande, getting sampled by people like Ed Sheeran. So the girl is relevant. She's out here making her money. And she's, on television shows and has a spin-off television show every couple of years with her family. She put her family on. They got the restaurant. They got a whole bunch of stuff going on. And that is why Rocky is mad, because he hitched his wagon to the wrong stallion, okay? And that's why he's upset, and that's why he blames Kandi for everything, because she succeeded despite having the least amount of talent, and he just put his bet on the wrong horse. And I'm not trying to compare women to horses, it's just an analogy, okay? But I think that's why Rocky is really mad. And I think over the years, Rocky has put things into Latasha's head to make other people believe that they're jealous of her, which is another way of validating her, right? Like, people are upset that I'm talented. I'm a talented singer. I'm a talented writer. Instead of looking inward, right? Like, as long as I can focus on what Kandi is doing and why she's jealous, or how the only reason Kandi is successful is because she slept her way up the ranks, or if I can talk bad about how she's selling sex toys now, and how she is lauding her wealth in Real Housewives of Atlanta, as long as I can focus on that, I can distract myself from the fact that people just don't want to hear me do my solo career. That's just how it goes. There are tons of people who were in groups that went solo and nobody wants to hear them. There's typically only one star that can come out of those types of groups. And with Xscape, to be honest with you, it's none of them. Because while Kandi might have had a solo album come out. I don't think it was a hit. Don't Think I'm Not was like good to bump in the club, but did it chart? I'm not sure. That's the only reason I'm saying. The Candy did not have a overwhelmingly fantastic like Beyonce break. So nobody in that group really broke off in a way that was like a singing career. She made her money in songwriting and then eventually in other ways. But at some point you have to realize that what you have, for whatever reason, just is not marketable at this moment. And I feel like Latasha has not come to that conclusion just yet. So it's like, hey girl, like nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. My story, like all the runs. I'm like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. It's enough runs, baby. Okay. So like, just some people do not have the star power, and that's okay. Just be realistic about it. So as long as I can blame Candy for why the group broke up or why I am not successful, I can avoid acknowledging that I just don't have what it takes, that I don't have the star power, that I don't have the relevancy to come out with a solo project that's going to be successful. And what's really interesting is that Rocky has Latasha believing that it's Candy's fault, when it's probably only Rocky's fault that she isn't where she needs to be. If you have a husband that's your manager and he's any good at his job, then this Negro is the reason why you're not successful. Because if he could make things happen for Escape but not his own wife, what kind of manager is he? Your husband is bigging your head up, but he can't get you to where you want to be. So sounds like this is his fault. As long as Rocky keeps Latasha focused on Candy, he can keep the blame averted from himself when he's the one who's probably mostly responsible for Latasha not having her own career. So it's a game of distractions. And I actually believe that Rocky comes across as very abusive. Rocky has this belief that, what am I trying to say? Rocky comes across as very manipulative. The way when this man went and whispered in Tamika's ear and said, I'm telling her what she should say, I was like, my mouth was agape. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I don't think Rocky thought that was going to make it into the show, but it's a demonstration that this Negro is manipulative and probably, allegedly, possibly mentally abusive to Latasha. What the heck? That blew my mind. I don't understand what that was about. I don't get it. But anyways, there's the allegation that Rocky stole money from Tamika by cashing her checks. Latasha, I don't know if she don't know how money works, but she keeps asking the question like, how could my husband cash a check with her name on it? Has she never heard of the phrase payable to, nigga? When I was 10 years old and I would get checks for my birthday, my mom would write payable to her name and cash the checks and put the money in her account and like give me the cash, right? It's easy. You can put a check with any name as long as you write payable to and it's not fraudulent. And if the funds go through, does she not know how money works? What are you talking about? And whoever signed Tamika and Latasha up to get those royalties probably was like, oh, let's have both of their checks go to Latasha's house, and Latasha will just give her sister the check. Now again, all of this is alleged, but I don't have any reason to disbelieve Tamika. And the problem with their family, well, a lot of black families, is this very like stupid philosophy of like, what happens in our house stays in our house. And so disagreements and things are supposed to happen behind closed doors as opposed to on TV. And it's like, okay, is this a reality show or is this scripted? Because however I'm feeling in the moment is the way I'm going to come across on television. So there's that. And then there's also this belief, don't know if it's a black thing, it's just their family has this dysfunction of where like family is supposed to come first in a way that means you tolerate their BS at your own detriment. And that's how it's coming across from Tamika. Like Tamika is feeling like, okay, as long as I'm going along to get along, everything is cool. But if I have a difference of opinion, or if I have a disagreement with the golden child, I am now to blame. And hearing the conversation that her mother had with Tamika was so disturbing to me, and like so disheartening and so dysfunctional. And I was like, I cannot believe this. I really cannot believe the way their mother was talking to Tamika, because it was obvious that Latasha got to say her piece to her mother, but when it was time for Tamika's piece to be heard, her mom already made Tamika wrong. Instead of saying, okay, let me hear your perspective on what happened, or tell me why you sent that text message, right? Very neutral, just asking a question. I think what she said to Tamika is like, why in the world would you send a text message like that? That's already making her wrong before she even has a chance to state her side of the story. It's obvious that her mom has a favorite, and I'm interested a little bit in knowing why. And I will say something that kind of relates to my own life. I feel like certain people in certain families enjoy being needed. And what that means is the neediest child in the family gets the most support and attention. I hope that makes sense. I feel like because of Latasha's being overweight and Latasha having lower self-esteem, and probably being like more impacted by her dad leaving the family, that she became the neediest child, and she and Mama G, their mother, poured herself more into the child who needed her the most. And Tamika, who I guess didn't need her mother as much, was secondary. That's just my educated guess based on my own experience. And to me, that kind of sucks. Like, so that means the child that's more independent or well-adjusted or even like more well-behaved doesn't get as much love and attention as like the problem child, or the child who needs whose needs are different. So yeah, that's like from my own personal experience. But it's like here in their family, it's like a complex. Like, are you kidding me that you would tell your daughter that your other daughter is jealous of her? And there are some people who are doing reviews who are saying Mama G probably got some of that $30,000. I would not be surprised if Mama G and Rocky were in cahoots. And I feel like Latasha is a talented person. But between her mom and Rocky bigging her up, they made her believe that she's something that she's not, which is a solo star. Now, could she have been a solo star had she not hooked up with Rocky? Possibly. But again, Rocky's mad because he hitched his star to the wrong. He hitched his wagon to the wrong star, okay? That's why he mad. And look, Kandi was telling her side of the story in her show, Speak On It or whatever. And she was, explaining how a lot of the things that they were saying are not true. That, Tasha had hinted that Kandi somehow prevented her solo album coming out, as if Kandi, being like a 19 or 20-year-old, had enough pull at a record label to not release her album. That doesn't make sense. But one of the things that Kandi kept saying was like, I'm tired of being blamed. And I was like, well, we found out during the show that Kandi introduced Rocky and Latasha. So it is your fault, Kandi. Look, if Latasha and Rocky never happened, who knows where Latasha would be, okay? But because Kandi put Tasha and Rocky together, it is your fault. You are the reason why her career is the way it is, because you hooked her up with her demise. And I hate to say that. They've been married 27 years. But just a couple of months ago, like before this show came out, when they started doing promotion for it or whatever, there was rumors of Rocky having a side chick. And it's like, this is coming... I do not know the whole story. It was very unclear. It came across as like a lot of rumors. But when all of the rumors are coming together to paint the same picture, it's hard to believe that some of these rumors are not true. From stealing money from your sister and sister-in-law to having additional women on the side and cheating on your wife of 20 plus years to being accused of pulling out a weapon on people during the production of, was it R&B Divas? One of those shows that Latasha was on years back. All of these things are coming together to paint a picture that does not seem far-fetched, is what I'll say. So for me, this show is great. And I know I'm talking a lot about Escape, but real quick about SWV. How wonderful is it to see SWV being an example of what Escape could be if they got their crap together? They are getting all of the buzz from being a part of this show and none of the vitriol. That is what I'm talking about. Look, sometimes you have to team up with crazy people just so you look sane. You hear what I'm saying? So having them be a part of this show while Escape can't really get it together is only making them look better and making them look normal and well adjusted. And it's doing the opposite for Latasha and Escape. There's a dark cloud in the room. And because of that dark cloud, I don't think anyone is going to want to get inspiration from inspirational music from somebody who sucks the air out of the room and who don't talk to her sister for a month over a misunderstanding on a text message. Because I know the Lord and I know some of the word, and what I know is that if you're not right with your brother or sister, then you're not right with God. Because if you can't get right with people you can see, there's no way you can get right with the person you can't see. So the fact that you have so many interpersonal problems with your sister and with Kandi is a reflection that you don't have yourself right with God. And you can't say nothing to me about no inspirational or gospel music. You ain't right with God. Get yourself together, God. Anyways, that's most of my opinions. I'm just doing this off the top of my head, so I probably forgot some stuff. But overall, I really enjoy SWV. I actually prefer them over Escape. Escape wasn't a group that I really explored until later, but SWV has always been in my playlist for a very long time. Love them so much. So thanks so much for watching. You can subscribe if you want to, but I can't tell you when the next time I'll be reviewing something is. So, yeah, have a great day and peace out, home slices.